welcome Andrea Ma from the University of Arts London.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining today. I'm super excited to share more about UAL, especially having been an alumni myself. My name is Andrea, and I'm a student counselor working with UAL. So for this presentation, we were hoping to have academics from London present to talk about UAL, but given the time difference, that wasn't possible today. But our academics, fortunately, have been kind enough to record a video for you all that will play, and then we can do any questions that you might have at the end. So let me just share my screen. Can everyone all see that?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. So without further ado, this is Karen Hurd, and she's an international academic from UAL.
Welcome, Canada, and let's go. So we are the University of London, and at the moment we are a recognised, really exciting creative space for creative subjects, and we have this ranking. We are 6 colleges, and each of those colleges have their own history, but UAL is sort of our umbrella. We're one university, and UAL is a creative community altogether. Let me tell you a little bit more about the potential for you if you were to come and study with us here. First of all, London. Not sure how many of you have been to London, but this is definitely a really exciting place to be based as you study and explore your creative potential. London speaks for itself, full of destinations, experiences, culture, history, and just much more. This is your research playground and very much central to how you will develop creatively in any course that you study. We are going to ask you to use London. We're going to ask you to engage with this place. And as creatives, that sense of looking and experiencing and finding inspiration is really essential and central as a kind of tool to help you in your work. We're going to just talk a little bit now about our colleges. Each and every one has its own story, has its own history, and each has their own subject focus. So first of all, Camberwell. In a part of London, really interesting, diverse community, kind of quite a burgeoning art area, really. Lots of creatives working, practicing, sharing, exhibiting. Camberwell has a range of courses around art and design, and again, I think that brings together really interesting, like-minded individuals with studio spaces, technical spaces, social spaces. It's a great place to be. Central St Martin's, often known as CSM, has mainly 2 campuses. The most likely destination is our King's Cross campus, and this is a very big destination in terms of public place space coming together. Again, it is an art and design college, so it offers a range of subjects across fashion, graphics, art, architecture, and many more. Again, really exciting environment, different spaces, obviously for each course, different resources, different opportunities, and again, a really exciting community. Slightly different location, Chelsea, a really interesting sort of part of London, slightly sort of slightly connected to the river. We have the Tate Gallery right by Chelmsford College of Arts. This is also a place for a range of art and design courses, and again, really exciting historic buildings, studio spaces, different technical facilities, and exciting work emerging from those. London College Communication is what we call one of our specialist colleges. So this is based in an area of London called Elephant and Castle, and this really is where students that are focusing on media communication come and study. This is a communication set of courses, and we again have subjects that are sometimes studio based, different specialist resources according to the subject that you might study, but very much a place to sort of potentially meet again future collaborators, future networks, and again a really interesting part of London to explore. London College of Fashion at the moment is one of our colleges that has many campuses. So again, it's one of our specialist colleges, and at this time has 6 campuses, and each of those campuses have varied courses, and again, different areas of fashion, from business to media to design, so different spaces, different tools, resources, according to those subjects. Wimbledon is in an area of London called Wimbledon, and has in the last few years become what we call a kind of performance centre. So all of the courses connected to the world of performance are now based here. So that is really kind of interesting in terms of looking at costume design, prop, stage set, but also an emerging sort of a range of courses that look at performance, directing, acting, and beyond. A more recent addition to UAL is CCI, Creative Computing Institute. And this, I think, is a really exciting development because it is looking at that particular character, somebody who's very creative, but also someone who's got sort of tech ability and foresight and has vision for the future. Many of our courses are maybe quite specialist, and it's really worth looking at each course that you find interesting in our website, looking at examples of students' work, understanding beyond a course title, what might this course be? What might the experience look like? How might this work for me? So in terms of disciplines, as I've explained, we've got a range of areas, and depending on the college, as I said, some have art and design, some are more specialist. In terms of art, we're thinking about fine art, we're thinking about different ways of creating, and that might be through drawing, that might be through painting, that might be through making, creating sculpture, but also we're also looking at emerging technologies and how art might move into performance, installation, and using other tools. Communication, again, can be quite particular. It could be that you're in a course at LCF, LCC, that you might be looking at a slightly more academic approach to communication. There are others that are very visual. There are others that are very specialist, but we're very interested in exploring different forms and formats of communication, both physically and digitally. In terms of design, I think at UEL, we can kind of say that we design most things. So that includes spaces, that includes objects, artifacts, that could be for wearing, that could be for performance, that could be for living in, that could be for everyday use, that could be for one-off use, multi opportunities to consider design. Specific to fashion, we have really quite diverse ways of thinking about fashion. I mentioned at LCF, this is across 3 areas: business, media communication, and design. But again, within the subject of fashion, there's many, many other areas. And it's really about finding that interest, finding your potential, and seeing what might work for you. Media, again, is connected to communication, but media formats are varied, they're changing, they're merging. And again, we have different courses, different resources, different approaches, depending on your interest. So we might be thinking about working with our hands and later translating those media formats into moving image, into digital content, and much more. Performing arts, we discussed that Wimbledon is the focal point for many of our performing arts courses, but again, CSM, LCF have their own approaches to aspects of performance. And again, this is an arena that could include theatre, film, TV, and more. Screen, gosh, in this time of working in screen, we're seeing, incredible breakthroughs and developments in terms of how the screen is a tool, not just to share content, but now to engage, to be interactive, to have dialogue, but also to create experiences of all kinds. Now, it is very particular at UAL how we describe our courses. As we've explained, 6 colleges, different courses, different subjects. When you're looking at your options, it's really worth looking, if you're perhaps currently studying high school, or perhaps you finished high school and you're wondering about how to move forward. We have a range of pre-degree courses to help you develop all kinds of areas. These help you really make sense of you, your creative potential. They help you develop a range of skills, experiences, and they help you prepare for a much more specialised degree course. So across UAL, we have 4 different, what we call international preparation courses. So these have been designed for students that are coming from the world, so in your case, Canada, and you would potentially come into one of these depending on your interest. So at LCC, we have International Introduction to the Study of Design, Media, Screen. And at LCF, we have a very similar course, but the focus shifts to fashion. And then again, at LCF, we have a slightly similar but different course called International Preparation for Fashion. And at LCC, we have a course that is similar called Preparation for Design, Media and Screen. Have a look at these courses. Have a look at the students' work. These are transformative, exciting experiences, and they've been designed to help you navigate change from one education system to another, and they help you make sense of your direction for the future and build the relevant portfolio of work and skills to succeed in degree. There are two other pre-degree courses. We in the UK describe them as foundation diplomas. Sometimes they're known as FADs, but these are opportunities to look at a broader subject range. So if you're interested in art, design, maybe you're not quite sure which area, the diagnostic approach of a foundation course could be the right way for you to, again, explore different subject areas. It might be that you've found a specialist interest, but you need to really work out the exact direction. So we have two, one at Camberwell and one at CSM. So in total, there are 6 one-year pre-degree courses that in the UK art and design system. It is a totally usual first to studies, and you would progress into probably a 3-year degree after that. So in time, we're looking at a 4-year journey. The degree courses that we have at UAL are, as you've heard, wide-ranging. We've got a huge amount, and as I mentioned, in most cases, they are 3 years. So what really happens is that you have that 1 year potentially on a pre-degree course, exploring the subject interest that you think is the right one, making the right work to find your potential to go into a specialist degree thereafter. Do research, do look at work, do understand the opportunities of the subject that you might be looking at. Same for postgraduate. We are in sort of the European landscape. We have the largest amount of postgraduate courses, really quite unique courses, some of which have the title MA, some have variations. Now, again, connect if you have done an undergraduate degree in a particular area and you want to study further, have a look. What might be the right type of course, the right focus, the right subject? We have different titles, but also different timescales. So typically, a master's might last for 15 months if it's a portfolio-based master's. Those that are more targeted in areas like business, fashion business, these tend to be 12 months. But we have variations. We've got courses such as graduate diplomas, which are really interesting opportunities to consider after degree study. And these are just an academic year of 9 months. So if you like what you're hearing, if you're getting a little curious about what might be right for you, start doing your research, start finding courses that you might think are right, and then start to think about what you might want to say if you make an application. So in pretty much all of the courses, you would submit something called a personal statement. Really, this is sort of your story. There's some key points here to help you structure and put this together. But essentially, you're telling us about your sort of education so far, not necessarily everything, but your most recent education. You're telling us about the skills, the experiences that you can bring to us, and you're helping us understand a little bit more about where you want to go. Maybe you're telling us about something that you've already been developing, maybe project or work. It's your written sort of story, if you like, to help us understand you, potentially before we might have the chance to talk to you. Many of our courses are going to require a portfolio. So again, the personal statement is your written self, your story of you. The portfolio is your visual tool. It's like your visual CV in a way. So this is something to kind of think about and start maybe organizing, collating, thinking about what you might want to include. So there is no sort of strict formula. That can be a challenge. We know we're sometimes leaving the portfolio to each individual, but that's because we see it as your space to showcase your work, your potential, your skills, and we want you to really think about making some of those judgments yourself. So do check the website of the course or the courses that you're interested in. There is some guidance there, but essentially it's about you showcasing maybe again projects and examples of your work. We're very interested in understanding sort of how you think, how you get inspired, how you've made your projects, and maybe if you've reached certain outcomes, how you made those creative decisions. So this is a whole nother presentation in itself. So for more information, have a look at the guidance on our website. You can see here focusing on portfolio guidance. Basically, if you think you are creative, if you think you have an interest in any of the subjects that we've been sharing today, if you want to start getting an idea of what our students and graduates are doing, then next steps are here. So Jess is our country manager. She's also a graduate from LCF. She's been working with us to support students coming from Canada for a number of years and can help you sort of before you begin your journey, through your journey, and ultimately can help you get to London being a student at UAL on the relevant course that is identified for you. So do reach out, connect with Jess, email her, arrange a call, and let's begin that process. A few final thoughts to help you maybe consider if UAL is the right fit for you. We are lucky, we're very fortunate in terms of our graduates. You will see a range of names that are, you know, notable in terms of their contribution to all creative fields, from fashion to fine art and much more. You can see just some statistics here. So again, really prestigious amount of Turner Prize winners, really amazing statistics in terms of gaining employment. A lot of successful designers are graduates of UAL. Great success stories in terms of, you know, being quite entrepreneurial here, 1 in 5 establishing a business. Amazing in terms of what we see at London Fashion Week in terms of who's showcasing in that platform. And whilst incredibly creative and specialist, there is also, I think, many very, very, you know, quite driven, focused future entrepreneurs and business people. So, you know, if this is making you curious and it makes you believe that a creative future could be your path and destiny, then take a little bit more of a look. Final quote, maybe this sums us up. UAL is the world's biggest factory for travel. That is said in true kind of in true sort of creative spirit, because if you come and study with us, we want to challenge, we want to disrupt, we want to create new creatives for the future, and that sense that we're a factory of trouble is all part of the amazing incubation of the creative mindset. So hope that inspires, hope that you can now think a little bit about which part of this creative factory you might fit. Do your research, get in touch, and we hope to meet you soon and be part of that conversation. Final message, do take a look at the link here, the Canada UAL web page, and you will find out a lot more. Really hope to hear from you, hope this has inspired you, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, so I actually tried to reach Just Go multiple times, but wasn't very successful. So
Oh, no.
yeah, so it's I actually had an appointment with her today and she didn't show up, and I tried to call the office, but I think she was too busy to speak at the moment. And yeah, I actually have a lot of questions, but I'm not sure who else I could talk to because I tried emailing her a couple of times and it didn't receive any reply.
Yeah, it should be her. She is getting a lot of inquiries right now, so that might be the reason, but I will follow up with her directly about you and make sure that that doesn't happen again. I'm sorry that your appointment today didn't work out, but I'm sure we can schedule something in.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Lily if you need my information, and yeah, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much, Andrea.
Sure. You can even send over your email address in a direct message here on Zoom, and I'll write that down.
Okay.
Thanks, Lily. Awesome. Yeah, so that's all I have from Karen. As she mentioned, Jeff Skill is your Canada country manager at UAL to support your applications. Here's the information on the side here. For anything you need, like questions relating to your application, which course to apply to, information webinars, scheduling, even portfolio advisory sessions, things like that and more. We do have a couple of minutes. I'm happy to answer whatever else I can. If anyone has anything right now, especially anything I can draw from my own experience at UAL. But I will preface that I direct most of my questions to Jess, who you'll be able to contact through email up here or through the form on arts.ac.uk/Canada. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Maybe I can start us off just by asking you why you chose to go to UAL.
Yeah, that's a great question. I always knew that I wanted to do something at the intersect of fashion and business. And at the time in Canada, there weren't a lot of programs that really bridged that gap, that really explored, fashion enterprises, fashion business, all the different disciplines that are covered in that. And UAL offered the fashion management course, which was perfect to what I was looking for. And then of course, London, a lot of my classmates were going off to schools within the country, and I kind of wanted to explore something a little bit different. I've always been, a big city person. I grew up internationally as well. So wanted to expand my horizons. What better place to inspire you than London? What better place to study fashion than London? I knew it would open up a lot of my opportunities, both, while I was at school there and afterwards. And yeah, I'm really happy with my decision. I ended up landing a job, moving back here after I graduated, and have had a successful career in so far in the last few years. So I credit a lot of that success to my time at UAL, both personally and professionally.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you so much for having me.